Talking about doing this for a while.
A couple years, right? I mean, more than a couple years.
I came across an intro clip that I had created when I was still living in New Jersey.
So it's 9 years plus or whatever.
Anyways, welcome everybody. We are Cup of Meat. And this is our 25-year journey, 48 hours at a time. We have been talking about doing this for a while. To me, our story is very small and rather insignificant, but by its sheer duration and volume of production, it feels like there's something there.
Yeah, it's I don't know any other teams who have been doing it this long. There are those who've done more, but none that have been doing it this long.
So, the 48-hour film project.
Yeah.
The basics of what the 48-hour film project is it's a competition that we've been doing for now nearly 25 years with the simple premise. On Friday, teams are given an assignment to make a short film. They're given a character, a line, and a prop, and along with an assigned genre, and then in the next 48 hours, you make a film. DC was the birthplace of the 48-hour film project, and you actually knew Mark and Liz, the founders, before we did it.
Mark Rupert, Liz Langston. The funny thing is, I didn't do the 48-hour film project in DC. I'd already moved to New York by that time. Okay. But the year before, were looking for people to be extras and characters in some short films. Why not? I had done a lot of acting. At that time, I was very active in the DC and Virginia area, even Maryland, of doing theater acting and some small movie acting. So, what the heck, I said, these are cool people. I like them. So,
and then you moved to New York in 2001?
Yeah, spring 2001.
Yeah, I remember you coming to me and explaining it, because I had actually, I think, met Mark and Liz in passing, because I brought you to one of the auditions for those films.
Oh, that's absolutely correct. That's hilarious. That's so true. You brought me. You were in DC, and we went together to that little warehousey thing. And I tried out for the wrong film because they had told me the time was wrong. If you remember correctly, they were, this was the day before. This is 2001, right? This is before we had smartphones and stuff like that, right? We really didn't have that connectivity. And apparently they emailed me and said, come an hour later. So I get there, and the guy's like, I don't have you down, but audition anyway. So I auditioned. I did my thing. He offered me the role. It was in a play, totally unrelated to this. And I left. And I didn't even audition for the Mark and Liz thing.
Yeah, I remember you coming and saying, yeah, it's this idea, and we're going to make a film. And I guess I owned a camcorder. And my brother, Jimmy, had been doing some digital video, very primitive early digital video. And so I said, okay, let's try it. And I remember I had no idea. I had never taken footage from the camera to the computer. And I bought some weird adapter. I'm like, okay, we got to at least try it out to make sure that I can take footage and bring it over and then edit it. And so we made the pizza film.
Scorsese, to this day, I believe, references it often. But only in quiet moments. It was
So at that
really
point, we knew we could do it, at least technically.
we were what is the old adage? We were smart enough to not know the things we didn't know to keep us from trying.
Yeah. Exactly. Which is probably the theme for many of our films.
For a while.
Yeah. So you were living in Brooklyn at the time,
Yep.
and we ended up bringing in, I think, just one outside actor.
Yeah, I think it was one guy that my wife Michelle had done shows with in Alexandria, or a show with in Alexandria, who had recently moved to New York, and we brought him in, and yeah, he was the lead. And then we had our neighbors who lived upstairs. At least the girl played a part for one moment or two.
Oh yeah, the neighbors.
Yeah, she's very sweet. I think that was about it. And Stacy had a role.
Stacy, my wife.
Yep, we didn't know anything what we were doing.
And we had your apartment to film in.
Yep.
And your office in Manhattan. Back in the day, everything was very much in person. So, Kickoff. That was down in that weird theater art space down in the East Village.
Yeah.
And I remember going in there. Everyone during Kickoff was able to fit in the back corner of one side. I think it was 15 teams?
Something like that. 12 to 15, and not that many actually turned in that many, if I remember correctly, because I remember the screening was very long, very long.
Oh, we'll
and
get
at the
to
time,
the screening.
well, let me just give you one thing. At the time, I believe the films were limited to, 12 minutes, I think?
I think 12, 14 maybe?
Yeah, and people
took full advantage
of that time.
The way it has worked for years, and I think it was the way it worked then, is every team would come up and pick their genre out of a hat. And our first genre was detective cop. I don't know if we've mentioned it. This film is gone into the ether. So I don't remember a lot about... I don't even know if I remember the plot.
I'm not sure it had a plot. I think we attempted a plot at some point, right? The guy steals the purse from the girl, right? And the other guy confronts him, and then your Stacy comes up and interrupts with her talk about her cats.
The only thing that's burned into my mind about that film is in that scene where Stacy's coming upstairs and talking to him, he then turns around in the doorway to respond, and he does this John Wayne lean. And again, to this day, I think that's the only memory that I have of that film.
Okay. Yeah, I remember I think like the prop was a kite, and he was putting together a kite or something as he was sitting by the fireplace in my living room.
Yes. It was the first of many required props that were barely in the film.
Barely, yeah.
But in the film. So, I don't remember much about it. What I do remember is getting back home late Saturday and then starting to edit this thing together. And so I was using Sony Vegas, I believe, as my editing suite.
Vegas.
Which required that everything render at the end of the project, right? Like it dealt with, like when you were editing, you were working in proxies and all of these low-res visualizations. But at the end, you had to hit render and render it out.
Yeah, I think like by 10 a.m. we were time to render.
Which was good. Because my memory is that was about a 2.5 hour render.
I think it was more than that. I think we attempted it once, it failed, and then we had to do it again. You rebooted the PC often because it was causing you problems.
But we got it rendered, got it re-recorded to tape, and then back in those days, of course, that meant you had to go physically in person.
Mm-hmm.
but I remember people telling the horror stories of we were on the train and the train got stopped. We get out and get a bus. It's like that physicality of the drop off I remember from those early days. So we turned it in, and then really close time from then, they had the screening.
Yeah, it was like the weekend
like the
after.
next week.
Yeah, it was really close.
So screening is obviously the other big component of the 48-hour film project. Every time you do it, for the most part, there is an in-person screening, which has become, which at the time was exciting because you were getting to see what you made in front of an audience. And again, I have very little memories of that screening, except for...
I know where you're going.
This film, and I don't know what they were doing. It was a celebrity and family and love, and it was huge. Big cast. All shot on VHS. All edited linearly, meaning they were literally going deck to deck. And it made no sense. And the actors were not terribly good, but there were a lot of them.
It was like a church, people around a table and something, and they had a twist at the end. Somebody did something.
You remember that 15-minute film.
I remember how painful it was to sit there through it.
It was horrible.
Yes. The quality, it can't be overstated how amazing the growth of quality and ability of the 48 Hour has been in these 23 years or so. The films made today are, some of them are as if they were made for a major studio.
To me, it's a testament to the quality of media overall. Think of what television shows looked like in 2002 compared to today. And of course, YouTube just revolutionized it. Because
absolutely,
you have people who are making films today who weren't born when we did but have been watching YouTube their entire lives and have probably been making YouTube videos since they were 6 or 7. And hopefully, as we go through this series of watching parties, we've benefited some from improvement. Are you ready to talk about what we're going to be watching on the next episode?
I'm ready.
So shall we let fate decide what is our first film to be reviewed?
I think so. What do we have, 32 to choose from here?
34 films.
34, with the 2 missing, right? Omega 13 Restore?
Just a little note on this film before next week. This was our first COVID film.
This was the COVID film. It's the first remote film we ever did.
That, much like Do proved that we could make a film, this is the film that proved that we could make a film remotely. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch Omega 13 this week and talk about it. I think we're going to, the memories are already coming back. So, first episode, what do you think?
I think we got a lot to talk about. It's amazing with 34 films what the memories are starting to flood in and make me think. All in all, this journey's been amazing. Not just our progression, but just the people we've met, right? And we'll start to get into that, how it all came together, and the big changes that we've seen over the years. So, I think it was fun. What about you?
So subscribe, thumbs up, share, and we'll see you next week.